welcome back. This is video number 3 of the Chapter 8 exam review. Video number 1 just kind of went through all the strategies very quickly, kind of gave you one overall view of what you could do to tackle each question. Video number 1 covered questions 1 through 6 on your study guide. And here we are, video number 3, and we're going to start with question 7. So welcome back. Awesome. Let's get started. So I have this beautiful problem sitting right here. And I see that you might go, I don't know what to do. Well, your first step is to look for a GCF. Is there a number that goes into both? Now, a lot of people might go 4. 4 doesn't go into 9. And they all don't have a letter in common. So, no, there is no GCF. Well, let's check for a DOPS. You can't. DOPS is only for binomials. Binomials. That's a 1, 2, 3. Like a tricycle has 3 wheels, a trinomial has 3 parts. So we can't use a binomial strategy on a trinomial. So let's go to the trinomial section where we have 3-part problems. The first thing we can look for is a perfect square trinomial. Perfect square trinomial. What are we looking for when something's a perfect square trinomial? Well, let me share, right? Perfect square trinomials, first of all, have 3 parts. So that has 3 parts. So far, so good. A perfect square trinomial also has a perfect square number in the front and the back. 16, gotcha. 9, gotcha. It looks like we have a perfect square trinomial. We kind of factor these the same way we factor a difference of perfect squares, except our signs aren't mixed because we have a middle term this time. They don't cancel. So we need to think about that. So let's set up our parentheses. What 2 same numbers multiply to give me the 16? Cool beans. What 2 letters? And what 2 numbers multiply to give me that? Okay. Now here's the debate. What are the signs? Well, you only have 3 choices. Plus, plus, minus, minus, and mixed. We know it can't be mixed signs because that would make this a difference of perfect squares and we wouldn't have a middle term. So it either needs to be plus, plus, or minus, minus. And one of the things I've tried to encourage students to kind of see is the kind of strategies when you see a plus, plus, you have a 100% guarantee that it's always going to be a plus, plus in your binomials when you factor. So if you see a plus, plus in your trinomials, you'll see a plus, plus in your binomials. Now, here's the best part. You don't believe me? Don't. Multiply it out, check your answer. So I'm going to do that real quick. By the way, a strategy I'm using right now is called just distribution. 12x's and 12x's. Those don't cancel. You have 12 X-ray machines. I hand you 12 more X-ray machines. You got a lot of darn X-ray machines. You got 24. Now does this look like your original? Howdy doody, it does. So you know that that's your answer. So 4x plus 3 and another 4x plus 3. Now you don't have to check it, but I think you should. But that's me. Okay, cool beans. Let's look at question number 8. Cool. Question number 8 on the study guide. So here we go, question number 8. Let's look for a GCF. There is no number. Like 4 divides out of 4, but 4 doesn't divide into 25. And they all 3 don't have a letter in common. So this does not have a greatest common factor. Now we can't go to level 2 strategy because that's for binomials only, and this is a trinomial, okay? So let's look at our 3 choices, a perfect square trinomial. First of all, is it a trinomial? 1, 2, 3. It is. Does it start and end with a perfect square? Notice I didn't say middle, just as the front and the back of perfect square. Let's see. 25, yeah-huh. 4, also yeah-huh. Cool. Let's see if we can make this work. So you're going to set up your 2 parentheses. What gives you that 25x squared in the front? 5x times another 5x. What gives you that 4 in the back? Cool. Now you got choices. What are your signs? Is it going to be plus, plus, minus, minus, or mixed? The only way it was mixed like this is if that canceled, and then it would be a difference of perfect squares. That's not what we have. Ah, that's smeary. That doesn't look good. Now, you might go, well, it's a plus plus. The only way it's going to be a plus plus is if everything up here is positive. So we only have one more choice. Let's try negative negative. Okay. So, let's multiply it out and see what we got. That looks good. Negative 2 times that is negative 10x. Negative 2 times that is another negative 10x. And then we have positive 4, because a negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 2 is 4. If you have negative 10x's and you get 10 more negatives, you're going to increase the amount of negatives you have up to 20. That's exactly what we had. So when you have a negative first and then a positive, it's always going to be double negative. And that's a negative first and then a positive. So now we know if it's a positive positive, we end with a positive positive. If it's a negative first, primero, and then we have a positive, it's going to be double negative. Cool. Good to know, right? Good to know. Let's try that last one, question 9. Now this is an interesting question, and it can really be considered 2 different types of questions. Now, I know it doesn't have a GCF. I know it's not a 2-step question. It's not a DOPS. It definitely is a trinomial, so it's one of these. Now, it can literally be considered either one of these. It could be considered a perfect square trinomial. The reason? There's an invisible 1 here and 25, so it starts and ends with a perfect square. 1 is a perfect square, as is 25. So, but you can also consider this a trinomial where the a value is 1, because the front number is in fact 1. Doesn't matter which one you view it as. No, it's going to be the exact same. Cool beans. Let's keep going. Okay, so I'm going to start to factor this. I'm thinking of 2 numbers that are multiplied to give me that 25. So what are 2 numbers that multiply to give me 25 and the same 2 numbers add to give me 10? Who am I? 2 numbers that multiply to give me 25. M for multiply. And out of those choices, which one adds to give me 10? Has to be 5 and 5. Because 5 times 5 is 25, and 5 plus 5 is 10. What are my signs going to be, right? You only have 3 options. Is it plus plus, minus minus, or mixed? If it was mixed, we wouldn't have a middle term because they would cancel. So that's not going to be it. And again, one of the rules that I just say purely memorize for students is if you start with a plus plus, you end with a plus plus. And again, the beauty is you can do a quick check. You don't have to believe me. The proof is in the pudding, kids. Did I go back to the original? I did. Now some kids go, why do I have to learn this? Who cares? Why? You know what? In life, breaking down something that's complex and difficult into its basic ingredients is part of being an adult. Okay? Like I remember my husband went out of town. He went to Vegas. He's a poker player guy. And the plumbing just went in the kitchen. Literally the day he left, the plumbing just went kapooey. Now, I'm a cheap kind of person. I grew up with not a lot of money, so I learned to be very self-sufficient in DIY stuff, do it yourself, right? So I looked at videos. I broke this complex kitchen plumbing issue down to its basic issues. I watched videos. I also have a snake at home. My husband, not that kind of a snake that you clean out the plumbing with. So I watched a video on how to use that because I never used one before. Boy, did I make a mess. But I made it work. I took this complex situation and I broke it down to its basic ingredients. I also had to go hit the Lowe's and ask some questions because I was not completely knowledgeable about plumbing. I'm not a plumber, I'm a high school math teacher. So the idea of taking something in life that is complex and difficult and frustrating and breaking it down to its essence, its basic ingredients, is very important. And that's what we're doing with factoring. You're taking this thing that looks complex and you're breaking it down to its basic ingredients, because that's going to make a future question easier to tackle when you have these basic factors, these basic chunks. That's why we factor. And it's also part of the glorious part of our journey when adulting. Hey, okay. And by the way, I fixed that plumbing problem myself. Didn't have to call a plumber. I'm very proud of myself. I fixed the plumbing in the kitchen another time too. Dang. Saving me money left and right. So you can too. You can do the big things. You can do the difficult things, I promise. So I'm going to end this video. Comment back. I think we're going to move on to video 4, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll start with question number 10. Cool. Welcome back. Bye.